The Giannis Antetokounmpo and Milwaukee Bucks saga has a chokehold on NBA's free agency and the offseason. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the first domino that has to fall in order to trigger everything else in the NBA world, involving trades, what assets are being moved around the league, what players are signing to specific teams. This is a highly anticipated departure between an organization and their best player. The Bucks have done everything in their power to make Giannis happy and to showcase how much he's valued in the city of Milwaukee. They've changed the roster, they've changed the coaching staff, they've implemented a new play style. We've seen the Milwaukee Bucks benefit from making certain moves like they did back a couple of years ago, trading for Jrue Holiday, which ultimately resulted in the Milwaukee Bucks achieving the ultimate goal, which is winning an NBA championship back in 2021. But after that, things got a little stale. Giannis puts pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks front office to make another change to the roster, to put a contending team around him. And that was a time when Giannis was basically saying, if you don't put the right team around me, I'm not going to sign this long-term extension. So the Bucks traded Jrue Holiday and they acquired Damian Lillard. The few seasons we saw of Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo did not live up to expectations, and that's mostly due to other teams being better than the Bucks and the Bucks dealing with so many different injuries, specifically in the postseason. The Bucks are no longer in position to put a championship or even a playoff team around Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just look at last season. Giannis didn't play that many games. At Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, Cole Anthony, that is not even the right fit around Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's time for Milwaukee to remove themselves from Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the way you do that is by preparing for the NBA draft. There's been rumors that the Bucks are doing their due diligence of preparing for the NBA draft with the number 10th pick and hopefully the number 13th pick, which will come from the Miami Heat, which is a potential landing spot for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, we've seen a glimpse of the trade package. If Giannis was to get dealt to Miami, it'll be Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., the number 13th pick. Maybe other players are thrown into the deal, but that's what Milwaukee would receive back from Miami. Now, I would say for the Bucks, if they're all in about a complete rebuild, you would want to flip Tyler Hero, and that's where a team like the Detroit Pistons come into play. The Pistons need an extra ball handler, need someone to take pressure off of Cade Cunningham. They need the floor space, and Tyler Hero would be a decent fit with the Pistons. And if the Bucks do make those negotiations with the Pistons, they're looking to receive draft capital back. And Milwaukee has interests in Acuff, Keaton Wagler, Mikel Brown Jr., but I would be surprised if those players fall that low in the NBA draft. I think for the NBA, having a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo, a big name, a superstar player in Miami is honestly great. It's a superstar player in a big market, and Miami for the past couple of years has been fishing for a big star player, and it doesn't get any bigger than Giannis Antetokounmpo. The duo of Bam and Giannis Antetokounmpo, both offensively and defensively, would give the NBA lots of trouble. And then you have players surrounding that like Norman Powell, Pelle Larson, Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins. So it does seem like a good foundation to start with, but the Miami Heat would have to do their due diligence of filling out the rest of the roster. Another team that's been rumored in the Giannis sweepstakes is the Boston Celtics. Now, we haven't seen an official trade package between Boston and Milwaukee, but I'm assuming that it would have to involve Jaylen Brown, which would be a big decision for the Celtics to make because Jaylen Brown, was drafted to Boston. He's been able to elevate his game over the past couple of years. We've seen him as an elite scorer, an elite two-way player, make an all-star team, make an all-NBA team, have an MVP caliber season without Jason Tatum. And he's won Finals MVP back in 2024 when the Celtics won their championship. So that would be a big decision to make for the Boston Celtics. For a team like Boston, they want to elevate their front court play, and Giannis, is the best power forward in the game today. Jason Tatum can move back to his natural position at the small forward spot. Boston, they got great production from Neemias Queta, but we saw the cap that was placed on the Celtics when Neemias Queta is at your center position. And I'm pretty sure Brad Stevens is not going to bring back Nikola Vucevic. The center position will still be an area for Boston to make improvements, but having a power forward like Giannis Antetokounmpo mixed in with, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and the system we know as Mazzulla ball, I think that can be very effective for the Boston Celtics. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have resurfaced in the Giannis sweepstakes. We haven't seen an official trade package, but I'm assuming that it would maybe have to involve either Julius Randle or Jaden McDaniels. But I will say the Timberwolves have made it abundantly clear that Jaden McDaniels is untouchable. This will be different for Giannis because now he's in the Western Conference, and the two teams who are front runners to acquire Giannis, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, are obviously in the Eastern Conference. And that makes sense for Giannis to stay in the East. You've been there for the last 13 years. You've won a championship in that conference. And the West is just overloaded with great teams and great players. And not saying that Giannis isn't a great player, but staying on the East gives you a little bit more of a cushion to work with. I mean, imagine the duo and athleticism and downhill play from Giannis Antetokounmpo and Anthony Edwards. It's key to remember that Giannis will have a major say in where he ends up. I believe he's done that much for the city of Milwaukee where they are willing to work with him and find a new destination that fits his needs. Another thing to keep in mind is Giannis is extension eligible. So whatever team is willing to throw a haul at Giannis, they better make sure he is committed to that team and it's not a situation where it's Toronto and Kawhi Leonard on a one-year rental, and then you get the championship, but you don't get that long-term commitment from Kawhi Leonard. I would say this whole saga is getting annoying because we know Giannis wants out, but he hasn't even come out and said, I want to be traded. So he's just beating around the bush. And I think Giannis is under the impression that the city of Milwaukee would turn their back on him, which will not happen at all because Giannis has done so much for that organization. He's a superstar player in a small market. He's brought a championship to that city. I mean, he's been a two-time MVP, DPOY player, All-NBA, All-Star. He's done a lot for the city of Milwaukee on and off the basketball court. So, anytime he goes back to Milwaukee, if he gets traded to Miami or Boston or Minnesota, once he steps foot back in that arena, it's going to be nothing but love for Giannis. But with all that being said, he is holding up free agency and the NBA's offseason.